I'm not here to prepare the kids only to be a fighter, but I'm here to prepare the kids to face the world outside, to face the high school, to face the college, so they build their confidence, so they can inspire themselves to the art of Jiu-Jitsu, and to understand Jiu-Jitsu is a self-defense. So you build that strength in you, so you don't have to harm other people. You don't have to show off to other people. I was a kid. I tell you how many times I fought on the street, because most of the time I don't have to fight. I just avoid, because I knew I was gonna beat most of the kids my age when I was 16 already. When I was 16, I was already capable to beat growing up men. But I never have to do it as much. Why? Because one, I have the foundation, the peer foundation of respect for the elders and for any other human being. And they understand that I just gonna use the tools I have if I need. Then I don't really have to use Jiu-Jitsu much on the street, because we are animals, you know? As an animal, you're gonna look at me, you're gonna understand. As soon as you look at me, you know it. I'm ready, I'm prepared. And better you fear me if you start messing with me. Then I sent this message since I was a little kid. You know, I look at them, they already know it. I was a hunter. I was a predator. I know if he messed with me, I'm gonna destroy him. Then that was my way to live, because I don't have to talk. I just have to look at them. As an animal, we all understand the sign. Who is the hunter and who is the prey? And I was a hunter. Then I don't have to fight, you know? Then I look for more opportunities so I can use those tools I learned without harming people on the street, but find a way how I can express the art I learned in the most pure form. And my master brought me to the understand that I could be one of those great tools for him, for his team. Then I was on his side the whole time, and like I said, most of the people that fight Vale Tudo for Carlson, like myself, Murilo, Valide, Zé Mário, Carlão, all those guys, they were chosen by Carlson to fight. Because Carlson had 1,000 fighters, but he didn't choose 1,000 fighters to defend the martial arts he believed. He chose out of 1,000, he chose, if I count them, the top of my head, about 15. And even when Master Carlson said, hey, whoever think that are able to defend Jiu-Jitsu, step it up. And he give even to other people that he thinks doesn't have the mental capacity or the guts to step it up and defend the Jiu-Jitsu. Even he give the opportunity to, not only for his team, but he invite everybody in the country to stand up for Jiu-Jitsu and to defend Jiu-Jitsu in the 90s. And very few people stepped to the plate to defend. And I was honored to defend it and to step to the plate into it. I'm not saying I was not afraid for what's coming ahead, but I was chosen by the man, and who am I to argue against this?
When, as Americans, we love like belts and colors and stripes and ranking, when was it the same system in Brazil? Like, did you go through belts, or when did you get your black belts?
Let's put it like this. In America, we, as Americans more methodical and more organized on things we do. So we can, so the way we can adapt the Jiu-Jitsu to America, we have to tweak a little bit certain things, because not everybody want to do what I did, what Walid did, what Murilo did. One time I have a student that and he looked at me and said, oh man, you should train us in the Carlson Gracie way, the way you train. For a second I looked at this black belt and I thought, I don't think you want to train the way you did. I promise you, if I start to train you the way I did train, you don't show up the next day. Then I have to start tuning myself how to teach. So I don't teach only the way Carlson taught me, because Carlson taught us to be samurais, to live and die. Why? Because Jiu-Jitsu at this time needs somebody to commit their life for the art, because the art was right in the beginning. Then I'm not gonna get my guy, hey, you're gonna live and die if you fight in the cage today. Today I'm gonna say, hey, if I see you hurt, if I see you getting hurt, guess what? I'm gonna throw the towel. I'm not gonna let you get hurt. Back on the day, if I see my partner getting hurt, you're gonna get hurt. That's the job. That's what we were training for. The training is live and die for Jiu-Jitsu. We don't quit. If somebody catches us in the arm bar, you're gonna let your arm break. If somebody gets you in the foot lock, let him break, because it was dishonorable for us to tap to anybody, any other foreigners. Then we have no choice to live and die. We breathe Jiu-Jitsu. We wake up Jiu-Jitsu. We dream Jiu-Jitsu. We sleep Jiu-Jitsu. We walk Jiu-Jitsu. Our life was all about Jiu-Jitsu. I was ready to die for the Jiu-Jitsu. Why? Because we don't have many people to commit themselves like Master Carlos did, Master Hilo did, Master Carlson did. And I was so honored to follow their footstep, because their footstep was so courageous and so beautiful that I wanted this in my legacy and my history. And Jiu-Jitsu was right in the beginning, and then I thought, hey, you know what? I'm gonna jump on this. One, because I have so much admiration for those guys. Look at those men. Allan Gracie fought for 2 hours, 45 minutes. Carlson Gracie fought for 2 hours. Allan Gracie, Carlos. Then I grew up having them as my hero, and have them as my hero. The only thing I can do is follow the footsteps of my heroes. I want to be like them. I want to fight for 2 hours. I want to fight with no time limit. I want to defend Jiu-Jitsu against anyone that threatens my martial arts. And Carlson trained us for that. Carlson trained us to be ready, to live and die. Jiu-Jitsu was the only thing for us. Was all about Jiu-Jitsu, not about us. Was not about me. Was about Jiu-Jitsu and how I commit my life to Jiu-Jitsu.
So, okay, so I'm going to start asking you like harder questions now.
Okay.
So you mentioned that the training...
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Okay. You mentioned that the way you got trained is definitely not the way you train people now. So, and you rephrased this to make it a little more politically correct, actually. So is that saying now that the black belts that you're creating, when you give somebody a black belt, they're not as good as black belts used to be?
I don't say they as no good as the black belt used to be. I say they are different. Why? Because it's like in the time of the war. In time of war, we're gonna sacrifice all soldiers. Today, I don't need to sacrifice my black belts to defend the Jiu-Jitsu. Back on the day, Carlson had to sacrifice their black belt to defend the radicals. We were the radicals that chose to believe in Master Carlson, believe in his expertise, believe in the experience he already previously had for fighting for many hours, and many times, and he was the only guy with the whole experience. He was the only general available in our country with plenty experience. Then what general at the time had the experience of Carlson? Only Helio. Then it was Carlson and Helio. We only have two choices. Then would you go to the war with the general that never shot a bullet before? Or you would follow the general that been in the war many times and he had plenty of experience? That's what I chose to do, follow Carlson, because he was the general with experience, compassion, belief, faith, desire. He had all the tools that I was looking for myself. And he have a group that I want to be part of it. I want to continue the same history that he starts on the 60 and the 70. We want to be like Carlson. We want to do exactly the same thing he did. We want to commit to Jiu-Jitsu. We have so much passion toward the Jiu-Jitsu that we were ready to live and die for it. Today, would I sacrifice my athlete if he's fighting to live and die? No, I would not. I would make sure he survived to die tomorrow and to keep fighting the next day. But back in the day, our master would sacrifice her life. Back in the day, if you get caught in the arm bar, guess what? Your arm's gonna be broke. So you must honor this guy that caught your arm. If he get your foot caught, you must respect this guy and let him break your foot, because that's the duty. That's the duty that our founding fathers left to us. And we want to follow the same footstep as they did. Helio Gracie never tapped to anybody. Carlson Gracie never tapped to anybody. And even when Helio Gracie got caught in the Kimura, by Kimura, on the arm, he never tapped. He was ready to break his arm to honor the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Minotauro, when he fought Frank Mir, he let his arm broke, and I see a lot of people criticizing Minotauro, but how we can criticize culture, how you can criticize beliefs, then some people don't understand why Minotauro, myself, Hansel, Hoyler, we all sacrifice our bone to be broken so we can make Jiu-Jitsu prevail not only in terms of technicality, but in terms of courage that we inherit from our founding fathers. Would I sacrifice my son to the same thing today? Yes, I would. But I would make sure I would preserve for his physical integrity? Yes, I would. But if one day somebody challenged my son to a closing match in the gym, he knows his duty. He gotta be ready to live and die. Even if my heart be crying, I will let him do the ultimate sacrifice, because that's what I believe. That's what my founding fathers believe. And that's what would happen if I had to. But would I sacrifice my black belts on the same situation? Yes, I would. Even I know they didn't have the Carlson Gracie train, but I know they have the courage to follow my footstep and to walk in here and live and die for what I'm telling them to do. I know Ben, Eddie, Sergio, if I tell them, hey, got a guy over here, we're gonna fight till death, you ready? Yeah, they will be ready. They will commit the sacrifice for our founding fathers. But do I have to make them go through the same train I did? No, I don't have to. I built the most important on them, the courage and the love for Jiu-Jitsu. That was the ultimate foundation for us.